Welcome to Leading with Heart, the podcast where leadership meets humanity. I'm your host, Sara Valentine, and in each episode, we'll explore how to bring heart into the way we lead, live, and love. HEART stands for hear, empathize, acknowledge, respond, and think. These 5 actions may sound simple, but when practiced consistently, they can transform the way you show up as a leader in the workplace and beyond. So whether you're leading a team, leading a family, or simply leading yourself, you're in the right place. Let's dive in. Welcome back to Leading with Heart. I'm your host, Sara Valentine, and in today's episode, it's all about the first letter in HEART, H. It's for hear. We're going to talk about what it really means to hear your people, even when it's hard. And this one's personal. So, being in HR and trying to live every day with heart is not easy. I think I struggle with the H more than any other letter in heart, and I've had some really tough personal lessons on this one. In today's episode, we're going to talk about something that sounds really simple: listening. But hearing your people, truly hearing them, especially when it's really difficult, is one of the most courageous things you can do as a leader. And let me be honest with you, I haven't always gotten this right. As an HR professional, like I said, there have been times where I've deeply failed to hear people who were right in front of me. Sometimes it was because I was tired, my patience was thin. Sometimes I had already decided I was done listening. And there were moments when I came across as a holier than thou person, and I'm ashamed to say there are times I mistreated someone who probably just needed me to listen. Remain in my head for a long time, and that's when I know those are the ones that I just got it wrong. And one example of this is back in my union days. I had a relationship with a union representative I worked with, and it was combative and adversarial, intense. And she knew I was a Christian, and I knew she was a Christian, but somehow we always got into a butting of heads pretty constantly. She would lose her temper. I would dig in my heels and quote contract language like it was gospel to the union rep, which is never a good idea. And on paper, I truly believed I was right, but the real truth is no one was. We were all kind of lost, and the people we were supposed to be advocating for were lost with us. The trust between the HR and the union broke down. The trust between union workers and managers crumbled. And in all of our fighting to prove a point, we forgot the people involved. And yes, there were times employees, stole or no called, no showed or fought and had performance issues. But towards the end of my relationship with this union rep, it was about winning the power struggle with the union and not about understanding the humans caught in the middle, which is really quite sad and truly a moment in my career that I consider a leadership failure, because I was taught by one of the best, Cynthia Howell. She was in episode 2. If you haven't heard her interview, I really encourage you to go back and listen to it, because she taught me no matter what someone's done, you treat them with humanity and dignity. And I can tell you that working with the union during those days, I didn't always feel like I did that and didn't live up to her legacy. So that's just an example of where I think I have failed. I have many more moments, because I'm a human being. I am a human leader. I have flaws just like the next person, and I think every leader has a moment where they're just frustrated with the person in front of them. And we forget to be empathetic and compassionate because we've hit our limit. And I really believe every leader experiences that. And my goal as an HR professional is to help that leader through that moment so that they can look back and not have those moments haunt them, and that they can truly listen to the person in front of them, regardless of what they're doing and where that path leads them to, even if it is a termination. So, to me, what hearing is really about, it's not just about listening to words. It's about listening for the hurt, the fear, the human behind the behavior. In HR and leadership, we are trained to assess risk, apply policy, and manage outcomes. But what we're not really trained to do is to sit in the discomfort of someone else's truth. And even when we disagree with it, and um, even when the person's wrong, even when we're tired, even when it would be easier to just get it done. When we don't sit in that truth, there's a cost of not hearing, and that cost is high. Trust is lost, connection is lost. You lose the opportunity to truly lead someone. It's often said people don't leave companies, they leave their boss, or they leave cultures that ignore them. And while this is a lot of jargon, it is absolutely true. I've seen people leave companies for a lot of money to make half of what they were making, and it totally changed their lives because they're no longer in a toxic culture. They're with people who actively listen to them. So I feel like the truth is sometimes the hardest person to hear is yourself, that inner voice telling you, you missed something. You got that one wrong. And to me, this voice matters probably the most. I once heard that the 4 biggest words a leader can tell someone is, I screwed that up. And I think that is absolutely true. So if you've ever had a moment, I would love to hear from you. Tell me about your leadership moment. I would love to share a time where you learned how to hear better, because hearing isn't listening to respond, and I'm very guilty of that. People will talk to me and I'll stop tuning in because I've already formulating my answer to their non-existent question. So listening, active listening, is a true skill that we all could do better to refine. And so I think I would love to hear how you all have overcome your own challenges. And you can reach out to me either on LinkedIn or in my email, which is attached to the podcast. And I would love to challenge you. So I challenge you to think about someone you've stopped hearing recently. Think about a time you cared more about being right than being kind. And ask yourself, what would it look like to go back and listen to them? Because hearing people, even when it hurts, even when it's difficult, is the first step to leading with heart. And if you can't get the H right, none of the letters will really fall into place. And we're all works in progress. So thanks so much for spending time with me today. If this episode resonated with you, share it with a friend or a leader who could use the reminder. Please be sure to subscribe so you don't miss episode 4, where we'll talk about the E, empathy, and how to lead with understanding and not assumption. Thank you so much for listening. I'm deeply grateful. My hope is that you leave inspired to lead with compassion, strength, and heart in your work, family, and faith. If today's episode encouraged you, share it with someone who could use a little heart in their day. And be sure to follow or subscribe wherever you listen. Until next time, Lead with heart, and the rest will follow.